What would you do if you witnessed someone deliberately dumping garbage into your disabled child's wheelchair just because they thought it was an eyesore in their pristine neighborhood? How would you react when your child's dignity was literally treated like trash? This is exactly what happened to us just 4 months after moving into what was supposed to be our dream home. My name is Elena Morgan. I'm a legal enforcement specialist with the Civil Rights Division at the California Department of Justice. My 14-year-old daughter, Melody, has muscular dystrophy and uses a power wheelchair for mobility. After my divorce 3 years ago, it's been just the two of us navigating this world together. When I was offered a promotion in San Diego, we saw it as a fresh start, a chance to build a new life in a supposedly inclusive community. Cypress Ridge Estates looked perfect on paper. The brochures boasted about accessible living with wide sidewalks, gently sloped entrances, and a commitment to diverse residents. The homes were beautiful, the schools excellent, and the amenities impressive. What the glossy pamphlets failed to mention was Patricia Wellington, the HOA president, whose idea of neighborhood perfection didn't include visible disabilities. Patricia was the epitome of California upper-middle-class pretension, perfectly highlighted blonde hair, tennis-toned arms, luxury SUV, and a permanent expression of polite disdain. She'd been HOA president for 10 consecutive years, ruling over Cypress Ridge Estates like her personal fiefdom. Her background in luxury real estate had given her an obsession with curb appeal that bordered on pathological. Our first encounter seemed pleasant enough. She brought over a welcome basket filled with local organic snacks and a hefty 3-ring binder containing the HOA guidelines. "Just so you're familiar with our standards," she said with a practiced smile that never reached her eyes. Her gaze drifted to Melody's power wheelchair, and I noticed her smile tighten almost imperceptibly. "That's quite a substantial piece of equipment," she commented, eyeing the wheelchair as if it were an industrial forklift rather than my daughter's means of independence. "It's state-of-the-art," Melody responded proudly before I could intervene. My daughter has always been tech-savvy and loves explaining her wheelchair's features. It has voice commands, a built-in computer system, and the battery lasts for 48 hours on a single charge. Patricia nodded stiffly. "How innovative. I trust it will be stored inside when not in active use." "It's not lawn furniture, Miss Wellington," I said carefully. "It's Melody's mobility device. It goes where she goes." "Of course," she replied quickly. "I only meant that our guidelines are very clear about keeping communal areas free from personal items for everyone's benefit." As she left, Melody looked up at me with concern. "Does she think I'm an eyesore, Mom?" "No, sweetheart," I assured her, though a knot was forming in my stomach. "Some people just need time to understand differences." I should have recognized the warning signs. The trouble began in earnest about 3 weeks after we moved in. It was a sunny Tuesday afternoon and I was helping Melody into our van for a doctor's appointment. Her power wheelchair was temporarily parked at the edge of our driveway while I adjusted the van's ramp. Within minutes, Patricia appeared as if materializing from thin air. "Excuse me," she called, power walking toward us in her designer athleisure wear. "That can't be left there." I looked up confused. "We're actively using it. I'm just getting the van ready." "It's blocking the sidewalk," she insisted, though the wheelchair was clearly not impeding passage. Section 8, Paragraph 4 of the guidelines clearly states that walkways must remain unobstructed at all times. "We'll just be a minute," I assured her, trying to stay polite while helping Melody. Patricia crossed her arms. "Rules are rules, Ms. Morgan. If we make exceptions soon, everyone will think they can leave their things wherever they want." The way she said things made it clear what she really meant. The wheelchair was, to her, an unsightly object that disrupted her vision of suburban perfection. "My wheelchair isn't a thing," Melody said quietly but firmly. "It's part of me." Patricia's expression hardened, but she forced another tight smile. "Perhaps you could consider a less obtrusive model, something smaller that could be stored properly." I took a deep breath, fighting to maintain my composure. "Ms. Wellington, this wheelchair is medically necessary and custom-fitted to Melody's specific needs. It's not an aesthetic choice." "Well," she replied, checking her designer watch, "I'm just reminding you of the guidelines we all agreed to follow. Have a nice day." As she walked away, I could sense Melody's distress. "Don't worry about her," I whispered, squeezing her hand. "Some people just don't understand." But Patricia was determined to make us understand her rules. The following week, a formal violation notice appeared in our mailbox citing unauthorized storage of personal equipment in common areas. The notice included a $150 fine and a warning that continued violations could result in liens against our property. I was livid. The citation referenced an instance when Melody's wheelchair had been parked on our front porch for less than 5 minutes while I brought groceries inside. Someone, obviously Patricia, had been watching our house and documenting our movements. I scheduled a meeting with the HOA board, bringing documentation from Melody's neurologist, Dr. Elijah West, explaining the nature of her disability and the necessity of her specific wheelchair. I also brought printouts of the Americans with Disabilities Act and Fair Housing Act regulations. The guidelines, as written and enforced, are directly violating federal law, I explained to the 5-member board, which included Patricia as president. Mobility devices aren't personal equipment. They're protected medical necessities. Most board members seemed receptive. One gentleman who introduced himself as Dominic Garcia, a retired civil rights attorney, was particularly supportive. She's absolutely correct, he affirmed. Our HOA guidelines cannot supersede federal disability protections. We should amend the language immediately. Patricia tapped her manicured nails on the table impatiently. While I sympathize with your daughter's situation, she said, not looking at all sympathetic, we have a responsibility to maintain community standards. Are you suggesting my daughter's existence decreases property values? I asked, my voice dangerously calm. The room fell silent. Even Patricia seemed to recognize she'd crossed a line. Of course not, she backpedaled. I'm simply advocating for consistent enforcement. Perhaps we could look into providing a special storage area. She doesn't need storage, I interrupted. She needs her wheelchair with her always. That's the entire point. The board voted 4-1 to waive the fine and review the guidelines for ADA compliance, with only Patricia dissenting. As the meeting concluded, Dominic approached me. Watch your back, he warned quietly. Patricia doesn't like losing, and she's been known to hold grudges. His warning proved prophetic.